Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Is that me?
How are you today,
Oh, I'm doing
Jennifer?
good. Carrie, it was my computer. I didn't have my volume up. It wasn't you, it was me. I'm sorry. Did you have that recorded? I'm doing good, Cynthia. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. I know it's 9:30, but I'm gonna give a few more moments, see if anybody else wants to log in. And we will be recording this. So if y'all do need to step away, don't worry. We will be able to send this out in an email. Um, that way y'all can go back and play around with what I was talking about.
Not only was it recorded that you said you were wrong and I was right, we have witnesses, multiple witnesses.
that
I am so
was
pumped.
that was your one. That was your one for the week.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All righty. Well, good morning or afternoon, depending on when you want to watch this. Thank you guys for joining me in our Skyslope training. I am going to go over how to create a file and send out some stuff, but I do want to show y'all some tricks that Skyslope has implemented or put into their system that makes it a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more easier for you guys. Skyslope's whole goal is to minimize the amount of time that you're behind the computer. They know that y'all need to be out with customers and clients and doing what y'all do best, which is selling. So let me show you some of the new stuff that Skyslope is going to be doing. If you notice my screen, it doesn't look like y'all's Skyslope. So Skyslope is going to start a new system. They're going to roll it out here soon. I don't have an ETA. I do apologize, but here soon your dashboard will look like this. What they're doing is they're going to try, or they are going to um, merge your form section and your dashboard section. So you're not having to go up here to go apps, forms, create a file, and go through all the steps. You're actually able to see that right here in the forms section. And if you have a listing, you can just draft that listing directly from the front page. So you just click on that. It takes you directly to where you need to go to create your file, and you go through the steps. You are also able to write an offer if you have a buyer and they're ready to submit that offer. If you click on that, it takes you directly to where you need to go. If you notice, it already says you're representing the buyer because you're telling it, hey, I need to write an offer. Same thing with your envelopes. They're all going to be here, easy viewable. It'll show you the most recent. So whatever ones that you were recently working on are going to be the ones in the front, but you can also view all of your files, all of your envelopes, all of your transactions, all of your listings. So here soon, I will try and get a pin down more of a date of when they're going to launch it to us. But this is what it will look like here in the future. Okay. Let's go ahead and create a new file. I'm going to go ahead and still go through the steps on how y'all would in the Skyslope that y'all currently have. In the corner, you're going to go to apps and you're going to go to forms. The best way to think about it is this blue is for any new clients, any new documents, blank documents that you want to send out. In the beginning, in that dashboard part, that's only for compliance. That's if you have fully signed things that you're ready to submit to me. This forms area is where it's like your library of documents. So this is where you're going to get all your blank documents. They have changed the way that you can see things. If you want to see it as a list, as you can see, go down the list here, or if you like to see it more boxy, you can just change your view here. These are just test transactions that I've done, but if you actually have one that you've linked to an MLS, this will be the MLS picture so that you can visually see which file is which. You also have the ability to archive. I definitely recommend archiving anything that you are currently not working in. Don't worry, it never goes away. It just goes to this section here. It says archive. And if you ever need to bring it back, you just go to the three little dots and hit restore. It's nice so that you know, hey, I'm only working on these currently. Let's say your buyer wants to wait 6 months. There's no reason for him to sit here with all your active files when you can always bring them back. So you're not recreating anything. I want to talk about some of the abilities here in the form section. Up at the top right-hand side where it has your name, there's a couple of new areas that I would like you guys to just kind of look at and update if need be. The first one we're going to talk about is your user settings or your profile. Yeah, user profile. So this is where all of its autofill information is going to come from. If you notice that your number for some reason isn't coming in correctly, or your address or your license number, this is where it's getting its information from. Same thing with the brokerage. If you're noticing that for some reason the address is missing or the phone number, this is where you want to make sure it's updated. And if you change anything, make sure you do save it. The next section is my team. This is anybody that you are currently working with on a team. That way y'all both have access to the files that you're working in. So if someone needed to send an amendment, you wouldn't have to worry about, oh, how do I get a hold of that client's information or that amendment? You have the same file and you're not doing a lot of duplicate entries or duplicate paperwork because y'all are sharing the same file. The next one is your libraries. Everyone should have the Trek and the TAR. If for some reason you ever see your system says that you aren't allowed to see the documents, it means that somehow this Trek or the TXR got removed. And that happens. You just have to come here to your user settings and libraries, and you're going to add your NERDS number. I've only seen it happen to 2 agents. So it doesn't happen all the time, but just know it's okay. We can always fix it. The next section is your preferences. So, oh, well, we're always going to say DigiSign. That's who we have. And then save. This is archive. Yep. That's it. That's awesome. Okay. So then up at the top, if ever you are in your forms and you just want to go back to your home screen, if you click on this Skyslope forms, it'll take you back to the beginning of the forms. Up at the top, you have a couple of different tabs. You really don't need any of these. In your templates, you're always going to have the broker templates if you want to take a look at them, but you're never going to create a template unless you have your IABSs. Those are the only templates that you're going to want to create. To create a template means that you're going to use these set of documents with this set of information over and over and over again. And if you already have that documents filled out and you try to use the template at another time with another client, The system is always going to try and refer back to the original information. So you want to make sure and just always use the broker templates unless you have your personal IABSs. Those are the only ones that you're ever going to want. Okay. Then you have your browse libraries if you ever just want to look for a certain document. And don't worry about clauses. We aren't set up in that yet. So I'm going to go back to forms and I'm going to go through the steps of creating a file. So I'm going to create a new one. Let's say we have a seller. It's going to be seller one. They also fixed this if your client is a company, a trust, or a business. So let's say that you have a husband and wife that are part of a family trust. So you can say family trust. And this is Bob. Oops. Okay. Last time I was in here, they were able to do an additional contact for the family. Well, dang it. Why is it not there? I did it. I did a training on Tuesday and it allowed me to add an additional person to the representative. Goodness. Why is it not working? Okay, we're going to do this. So if you ever have a family trust or a business, you do have to put the organization name here and then the person's name here. What's going to happen is this is the name that's going to be on the documents, but the representative is going to be the person who is signing and initialing for that business. We can't have the Smith Family Trust as the signature because that's not a person. We have to have the representatives. And if it is an additional person, you do have to add an additional contact. So we're going to add an address. And I have my property in here. Now, you can name your file however you want to. The section of the forms is your own file maintenance. However, it is easier for you to know, hey, this is my client's files here. You can do it in the name, or you can do it in the address, or you can do it in the client's name. It's really up to you. I would say if you have the listing, do it in the address because that's the address that they're selling. If you have a buyer, do it in the buyer's name. That way, all your offers are in the same file for that one client, and you're not having to recreate a new file every time they want to do a new offer. Now, if that's what you would like to do and that makes it easier for you, you are more than welcome to. But it is, like I said, up to you. You are the one that's going to be maintaining your form section. Since I said a seller, I'm going to say the address. And then I'm going to come down here and pick a template. Now you'll notice that there are 2 templates per transaction type. If you are the listing agent and you're just doing a listing agreement, you're always going to do just a listing template. Anyone that has the word contract in it is going to have contract related documents. And those are only for the ones that are able to do intermediary or more experienced. Okay, so I'm going to do a residential listing and I'm going to hit create. So now I've created my file. If you get here and you're looking at your documents and you realize that you chose the wrong template, don't start over. You can just select all and down here delete, because you can apply a brand new template if need be. You can also do this if your client is looking at residential houses and then decides, you know what, I want to do I want to put an offer in on a land because I want to build my house. Well, those documents are a little bit different than residential, so you can always delete what you don't need and apply a new template. You are also able to add any documents that you'd like or upload. Adding is going to be from any of the libraries like Trek, TAR, or Century 21. And then upload is going to be if you wanted to upload a survey and send to your client. If you wanted to send a CMA for signatures or initials, this is where you would upload it to your forms. Now, a good way to think about your forms is going to be a library that is always here. These documents are always going to be here, even if I select them and say, I want to send them for signature. I want to fill them out and send them. If I do that, what this does is it creates a brand new envelope. If something comes up and I need to go show a house, if I need to answer the phone and I need to come back to it, you're going to save and exit. And you're always going to name your envelope. If you don't name your envelope, if you notice, it actually is naming it the same thing that I have the file named as. And if you have multiple envelopes, you're going to have all the same named envelopes and you won't know what is in what. If I come back to my forms, you'll notice that that listing agreement and that IABS is still there. So whenever you check mark them, you just make copies into an envelope. If you've already created an envelope or if you've already been working on your documents, this is the section that you want to start in. You want to start in your envelopes to go back to what you were already working on. Dang it, I thought they had fixed this. Okay, I'm gonna have to get with Skyslope because that unfortunately is how it is set up right now. If there are multiple people in a trust, it's just going to say their name twice. But when it comes to initialing, it'll have the husband and the wife right here. Excuse me. So this is my envelope that I am sending out for signature. You are able to add any documents from down here at the bottom. So if you wanted to send more or add other stuff, you can. You can do it from this file, from the whole library documents, or you can upload it from your computer. You are also able to mark up your document. So if you know that your client needs a little bit of help seeing, you can highlight. And so when they get it in their signature, you're seeing, oh, this is where we're either changing or this is where we need to initial or sign. You can strike through and add text box as well. So that comes in handy if you're counter offering, but you still need to be able to like type in the document. You are able to do that. Just remember any text that you do is going to be on the left-hand side. Ooh, excuse me. Most of these are going to be used if you're having to do a counter offer as a listing agent, if you're just filling out a listing agreement, you won't really use these too much. Let's see here. You're able to import any MLS data if need be. As the listing agent, you wouldn't do that because you're filling out the paperwork. But as a buying agent, if you are wanting to do an offer, you can import any MLS. If you have MLS numbers, you can look them up here. So let's say that I filled this out and I am now ready to send this to my client. I'm going to hit prepare signature. Oh, helps if I put in an email address. Sorry, one moment. Excuse me. You'll notice that it says that the agent has no action, but you know that you need to initial and sign the listing agreement. So you always just want to say needs to sign. It'll definitely save you some steps if you put that now, because if you don't, the only way to sign something after you've sent it for signature is to print it and then hand sign an initial, or once it's come back from your client signed, you would download it to your computer, then upload it into Skyslope, add your initials and your signatures, and then send it for signature. So you definitely add a lot more steps to signing something if you don't change it here. Also, I wanted to show you guys that you're able to name your envelope here. So if you get to this step, make sure you're naming your envelope. It makes it a lot easier to find your things or find your documents. I'm going to hit next. So now we have our document. If you have more than 2 people in your as your clients, either buyers or sellers, you will have to add any initials or signatures to the documents. All the Trek and TAR documents are set up for either 2 buyers or 2 sellers. You'll notice there's that highlight, so that's what your client will see, is that highlighted section. Everyone is also assigned a color. So depending on who you have here, depends on who is or what actions are going to be assigned to. So if I needed Bob to initial something, that's where he would be. And the box will auto size, just depending on how big you put it, is how big the initials will be. If you needed to add a checkbox at this time, like if you didn't want to go back and just add, do a checkbox, you can do it from here. Just be aware that you don't want it to be assigned to anybody because you want the client to see it already checked. So we'll do read only and checked by default. That way this does not have an action to do that. If I didn't do these check marks, what I've told the system is that Bob Smith needs to add a checkbox here. Well, if I didn't tell Bob that he needed to check mark this, he's not going to do it and it's going to come back blank. Let's see here. If you have a client that is using the same email address, make sure that you always put in a signing order. On the left-hand side, next to your recipients, you have these 3 little dots, and you'll be able to edit your recipients. This is also good if you have multiple people that need to sign, whether they're sharing an email or not. It makes it nice so that you know, okay, so Bob is signing. Oh, let's see, we'll do Jane. Jane is going to sign first, then Bob is going to sign, and then me as the realtor will sign. Since I put in the signing order, that means I'm the last one to get the email to get the initial, to to sign or initial. If I put myself in this first group, I'm actually able to initial and sign almost immediately, probably before Jane even opens her email. It's really up to you guys. Y'all know your clients best. If they want to sign something that has already been signed, or if y'all have already talked about it and they're ready to sign, and then you can sign. I don't care about the order as long as everybody who is supposed to sign has signed. You're also able to edit anything here. Let's say that you accidentally have the wrong email address. You can update it. The only thing is it's only good for this envelope. It doesn't actually update in the file itself. So if you do have to update anything here, just make sure that you update in your file details as well. You do have the ability to send all the signed documents as a copy. So if, let's say a son is a POA over his mom and he is signing everything, but she still wants a copy of it. So you can have it set up so once he has signed, everything will go to the mom automatically, all signed. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Bob for now. Just because I do want to show y'all the signing process, but I don't want to do it that many times. The next section down here is going to be how your email is going to be set up. If you'd like to edit your message, you can. But if you go to send, it's going to pop up with that same outgoing email. So you can edit in either one, it'll do the same thing. You always want to, well, it's really up to you if you want to personalize this or not. If you have them all saying the same thing, when you look at your envelopes, it'll be kind of hard to differentiate between who you're talking to and where documents are. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to put listing documents. I guess it helps if I can sign and morning. Sorry. Skyslope does have this new enhancement tool. You can have it say, oh, it took away all my stuff. It could be very professional. You can have it doing more friendly. And all it's doing is just taking the message that I put in there and it's kind of floofing it a little bit, I guess you could say. So just depending on if you want it to be more urgent, more friendly, or professional. I kind of liked the friendly one. And all it did is it just took my message that I typed and then just kind of made it sound better. Alrighty, so I'm going to send this for signature. Since I told the system that me as the agent needed to sign, I have this button here that I can sign now. If I had put myself in the signing order last, this is the only button that would be available because I would have to wait for the other two to sign before it was my turn to sign. So I'm going to go sign now. The great thing about this e-signature is it's going to look exactly the same to your client that it does for you. So you'll hit I agree, start, and then you're going to go down and just initial all the way down. I accidentally forgot something. It took me right back to where I missed. Now it told me that all my required fields are completed. If your client is not seeing this blue finish button, then it means that not all of the fields have been completed. I'm going to say I'm done. And then and if you notice, it is in real time. It lets you know immediately who has signed and who still needs to sign. Alrighty. And then this is how it will look for your client. It'll say your name via Skyslope is requesting your signature. There's that message that was done. And then I'm going to say get started. And then I agree. And then start. We're going to choose this one. Now, if you'd noticed, it didn't ask me as the agent what signature I would like. That's because in a previous training, I actually told the system to use that one particular signature all the time and don't ask me again. So you can actually tell Skyslope, hey, I'm going to do this, and this is what my signature is going to be every time. So it won't ask you every time. I'm not sure if some of y'all have already seen this or if y'all have already done that, but if it ever pops up and says, would you like to keep this as your signature? Say yes. That way you don't have to do this section anymore. Now you do have the ability to draw. Please discourage your clients from doing this. It does not come in very clear, and it comes in very, very, very small for some reason. We're going to choose this one, and we're going to go all the way down. We're going to hit I'm finished. Now your client does have the ability to download the documents from here. Just know if there are more people that need to sign, it is only in where they are at in the signing process. It won't be fully signed unless they're the last one in the line of signing. I'm gonna get rid of that. And now my listing document has come back and it is complete. You are able to click on that and see your documents. But if you notice, you do have a tab here that's for your signed documents. These are all of the documents that have been signed electronically, and they split them for you. It makes it very nice if you ever needed to send anything to the other side. Let's say that you had an oak wilt sign and you needed to send it to the other side. You could check mark it, come over here to more, and they have a new option where you can share by email. So if you click on that, you're actually able to you can put in the agent on the other side. The subject line is there for you, plus the message. And then if you wanted to send them a document, it would be listed there. So that makes it very nice for like our disclosure of relationship services or our oak wilt or kind of our internal forms that we need the other side to sign. You can check mark them and just email them directly to the listing agent. And then the last section here is your file details. This is where all of its autofill information is coming from. If you have a buyer file and you needed to update to a new property or new address that they were going to be submitting their offers in. That is going to be here. The basic details, this is the file name that I named the file. But this is the address that it's going to autofill from. You are able to edit and remove your contacts as well. And this is where you would need to make sure that everything is correct when you're sending. If you update it in the envelope, it doesn't update in your file details here. You would have to manually do that. All right, I think that's about it for the form section. Did I have any questions before I moved on to the dashboard side?
Jennifer, I've got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So would you happen to have any kind of a basic outline of steps on how to do this, or?
Yeah, I have a PDF that I can send you.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Mhm.
And then another question is, on the 31st, are you doing the same Zoom call for Skyslope? Is this the same information you're going to be sharing?
Am I doing one on the 31st?
Yeah.
Yes, you're doing the kind of intermediate tips and tricks.
Oh, it'll be more advanced.
But is it in this platform or is it in
Yes.
the old platform?
So the only new platform is in the, oh, I see, because you're in the other side. I'm not sure. It's probably gonna, I'll try and do it in the old, because what y'all are used to seeing is what I will do it in.
Okay. Okay. All right.
This form section, you don't really use for manufactured homes.
In this new platform?
Well, this is the form section that the agents use because it has like all the TREC and the TAR documents. Yours is a little different because you're the manufactured homes. And so yours is in, and I see what you're saying in the other side of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All righty. So let's go to our, from here, let's go to the DigiSign. So if you notice, your DigiSign is where all of your envelopes are. So these are all the envelopes that I have sent out. And you can tell that I've sent them out for signature. So this is why I would say naming or changing the envelope name. Because if you needed to try and find something from a client, yes, you can go to your file, but they're all kind of the same envelope. The reason I wanted y'all to come to the DigiSign is off to the side next to your name on the right-hand side. If you go to your name and go to preferences, you have a couple different options of how you want your signature and your stuff formatted. And I highly recommend y'all taking a look at this. As a default, it is here in the just the signature. But it's nice if you have it already include the date and time, or even just the date if you'd like. It's really up to you. But anytime that you add a signature, the date will automatically add next to it. I like the date and time. It just kind of makes everything more accurate or pinpoint down exactly when it was done. The next is how you want your date formatted. It's up to you. I like the default month, day, year. That's what we're used to seeing. You can change it to day, month, year, or year, month, date. Preferably month, day, year, because that's how everyone is used to seeing the date. Now, this block section preference, this is really important because this will save you some headache when you're in your form section or in your DigiSign. So it keeps block type selected as your default. That means if you have your initials selected, then you can just click initials, click, click, click. Everywhere that you click on the document will add an initial. But I know sometimes it gets a little frustrating because you accidentally click. And if I accidentally clicked here to add an initial here and here and here and here. So I actually prefer the deselected block each time. That means that if I click initials and click where I want them, it's only going to put one at one time. I would have to choose initials again to choose where I want to, but I have noticed it makes it a little bit easier when you're filling out your documents when you're having to add anything. Absolutely. I see that some of y'all have asked for those PDFs. I absolutely will. The next one is your email settings. To me, I think they're both about the same. So I don't think it really matters. I mean, you can add, I like the attachment and the link just so that your clients have that as an attachment. And if you do change, just make sure you save your preferences. All right. Let's now go to Skyslope. And I see what you mean, Cindy, about because it's not going to look like this quite yet. For now, let's go to, if you go to your name at the top right hand and go to my account. Now this will look the same for everybody. So you have a couple different tabs here. Your first tab is your personal information. You want to make sure this is filled out with your office information. It's not really necessary because this isn't really autofill information per se. It's just going to fill information wherever me as the realtor needs to have my phone number. That's where it'll pull up from. If you notice, you also have this email address at the corner here. This means it's your own personal Skyslope, and you do have a working documents tab that I will show you. So that way, anytime that you email in, it goes to that section. That's on the dashboard, and I'll show you once I'm done with this. The next tab is your notifications. You do want all your listing and your transaction notifications turned on. This will come in very handy just to kind of notify you like, hey, your listing is about to expire. I have it set for 3 days. You can have it set for 5. You can have it set for 10. Whatever you know that you need to have enough time to either communicate with your seller or talk with your buyer. You also do have the same for your transactions. And it's once the listing or transaction has expired, it's past the expiration date, if the date changes or price changes. The date changes and price changes are really beneficial if you are working with somebody. That way you know, oh, okay, they've already changed the date or they've already changed the time frame. Also, it's just nice to kind of know if anybody's doing any changes. Don't worry about the tasks just yet. I haven't even gotten into the task part of things. Eventually I do want to, because it'd be nice to be able to have it set up so that you could say, I'm supposed to get a survey in 7 days, and then it'll send you a reminder when you're supposed to have that survey, or if something isn't done or is done, then it'll tell you. The next section is your signature. And this is just copy and paste directly from your email. If you have one that has your picture, it will transfer over and your picture will be a part of your signature. Makes it nice as it makes us all in compliance whenever we email out or we message out because it has our information. You can change your password if you want from here. It already has your old password and you would just put in your new password. You also have a directory. Your directory is any contacts that you've added into the system, but it does, anytime that you add a contact, it's going to save that contact. You'll notice that I've done quite a few seller ones with my email address, but every time I've done it, it's saved that contact. So it can get a little daunting sometimes if you keep adding the same one over and over again. But it's nice if you already have like the title companies in here, then you're not having to retype in all of their information when you're adding them to your contacts. I wouldn't worry about integrations right now. That's not anything that you all have to worry about. I'm gonna log out of my training profile. That's why my interface looks different from you guys, is because my training profile, I'm in the beta testing, which I thought, oh, would be great so I can see what it's gonna look like. But then I realized, oh, it's not, doesn't look like what y'all's looks like just yet. So this is me as admin, so I have a little bit more than what y'all will see, but y'all all have this working documents tab. If you click on that, your personal docs, that is where you will see any documents that you've emailed into. So if I used my email at my name at skyslope.com, this is where those documents would show up on. You also have and this is just your personal stuff. Nobody can see what you have here. You also have a office docs tab. This is where our checklists are, any office documents, manufactured home agents. This is where you would get your documents at. Now, I do want to tell you guys that the checklist, I have been working on making these PDF fillable, and I will also email them out to you. So you're able to save them to your computer and fill them out without having to print them. I am working on that. That's why the checklist tab is empty. I am working on that. I should actually send that out sometime today. If you ever have any problems finding anything, like you can't find it, oops, I don't want to do that. If you can't find it in your listings, use your magnifying glass. This is the quickest and fastest way to find anything, especially if you've converted a listing into a transaction or you're in the process of. If you haven't answered all the questions, it's going to be in an incomplete status, and you're not going to be able to find it in your listings or your transactions. One last thing I wanted to show you guys is this support. This support section is awesome. They have trainings on their own. They have them where you can either sign up for trainings. They can email you video trainings that have already happened. Anytime they do something new, they're always going to have like a little video to kind of show you what's new and how to do it. So it's very nice. Their support, their phone support is awesome. I do always get my answers or my problems fixed if I am calling them. They're always very nice and very supportive. They also have this chat feature here too. If you aren't able to get on the phone, you can chat with them back and forth as well. And that about wraps it up. I hit all of my things I wanted to. Like I said, I will get with Skyslope on when they're going to change that interface, and see when it's going to change. They've been working on it for a while, and they've told me it's going to happen. I just don't know when. And that's what it'll look like.
Can I ask you a
Thank you,
question,
Jennifer.
Jennifer?
Oh, absolutely, Stephanie.
Hey, so under thank you for this because I've learned a lot.
Oh, yay.
Under your personal information
Mhm.
on the left side, on the transaction side of it, I guess.
This side.
Yes, this side.
Yeah.
Under like signature, where does that come up? Like, does it come up when you're sending them an email, and or how does that how does that work?
Yes. So whenever
Okay.
you're emailing them out in that, oh, I already closed all my emails. When it said that digi sign, it's a part
Yeah.
of that.
Oh, okay. It's in there.
Yes. And yeah, anytime you email them out, it'll have that attached to the email.
Okay, cool. That's good.
Yeah. And I like it too because it shows our picture. I don't have a picture on my email, but if you had one, then your picture would be there. And like I said, you just cut, copy, and paste from an email message.
Okay, that's what I just did it, and I was like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, it makes it just like, whoo, we're in compliance.
Yeah, it's all in there. And then I love the date and time. I didn't have that set up either on the
Yes.
side.
It's
Yeah.
nice though that you don't have to worry about the date. It's already, and it does the same for like if you're adding your client signature, it'll
Mhm.
automatically add that date for them as well.
I love that. That's great.
Absolutely. I will definitely. What I'll probably do when we send this Skyslope, this video out, I'll also attach the PDFs that I have. Actually, I think I'm going to do new PDFs. So it might be tomorrow or Wednesday. Just because Skyslope has actually changed since we originally got it. So now that I'm thinking about it, my PDFs are probably a little outdated. But yes, I will definitely do step by steps. I like that. I like to be able to see picture, make picture.
Well, I want to say you did a really good job. I seem to grasp a little more this time around than what I did the first time. So I really appreciate how you were able to present it. Thank you a lot.
Oh, thanks, Catherine. I appreciate that. Anybody else want to give me some praise? Okay. Well, you guys have a great day, and we will get this sent out to you guys.
Thank you. You are the
Thanks,
best.
Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.